Is your BMW taking a very long time to start or running extremely rough? Well, in today's video, I'll be showing you how to replace your crankshaft positioning sensor to fix this issue. So let's go ahead and get straight into this do-it-yourself video. All right, guys, so I just had my 3-stage manifold fitted on my E92, and now when I go to start the car, it's stuck in limp mode, so it won't come out of first gear. And on top of that, it's taking extremely long to crank up the engine. I'm talking like 10 seconds. Once the engine does come online, it runs very, very, very rough and my idles are hopping around. So I went ahead and plugged up my OBD2 sensor, and the code that I found was a P0335. And that is the crankshaft position sensor A circuit. So that's telling me basically that the crankshaft sensor is not getting power. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come from underneath the engine inside of this gap right here. And you can see our crankshaft position sensor is plugged in right here underneath the starter. And now you can see we unplugged the electrical harness. Just go ahead and put it off to the side somewhere where it won't get damaged. So now the only thing holding the sensor into place is an E10 bolt. And then you might need a pick tool to remove it. So the best setup you can use is a tiny ratchet with a small extension and then an E10 socket on the end of it. You can use a swiveling adapter on the end, but I think I can go ahead and get it on without the swiveling adapter, and we can go ahead and extract that bolt. And just keep fishing around with that socket until it lands on the head of the bolt. Perfect, and I was able to line up our socket onto that bolt, and we're able to remove it. So now you're just gonna wiggle it out of place or use a pick tool or something of the sort to go ahead and pop it off out of its socket. All right, guys, well, I finally got it out, 240,000 miles on this sensor, and it was pretty hard to wiggle out. I had to use a pick tool along the seams to really get it out of place. But this thing is extremely old. We can see it's coated in oil. The gasket's all swollen up. And it doesn't look to be in the best condition. Something I also did to help me out was I got a flathead screwdriver, and I wedged it right here where the bolt is originally supposed to go, and I just used that as leverage and wiggled it back and forth carefully out of place without damaging the threads on the inside of the engine. And yeah, I was able to pop it out of place and simply just pull this thing out. So here we have our brand new crankshaft sensor. I got it at FCP Euro. These guys are the GOATs, lifetime warranty on everything. And bam, we can see right here in this Continental box is going to be our brand new sensor. And then you do have to order the O-ring separately. It does not come with it, but I'll have the part numbers down below for you all. Now just go ahead and fit on that brand new O-ring you ordered onto the new sensor. Make sure it sits all the way down at the bottom of the sensor. And then this thing will simply plug in to the engine the same exact way our old one did. Perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and get our new sensor and insert it in right back into the hole that we removed it from. And we want to try to line up the bolt hole as best as possible on the first go around. And we can see that our bolt hole is a little bit off, so we're just gonna rotate the sensor until that fully lines up. So what I'm actually going to do is get the retention screw and hand thread it into place, because that's gonna force the sensor to cant around into the correct position. And so we can see here I have the bolt hand threaded on. I have not torqued it down, but I'm just showing you that as you hand thread this bolt into place, it's going to force the rest of that sensor to pull around into the correct position. And you can see here I have my E10 socket with my small extension fitted onto the head of the bolt. So now I'm gonna go ahead and slide my ratchet up there and torque this all down. So now everything's fully torqued down, but I'm plugging in the sensor right now. The connector has a retention clip on the side closest to the bolt. So now you can go ahead and plug up the connector. Again, make sure the retention clip is facing the bolt. And now our sensor is fully installed. All right, so now that I plugged in the sensor, I'm gonna go ahead and erase all my codes, and we should be good to go now. So let's go ahead and turn on the car. And guys, now we can see my E92 is running perfectly fine. If we look at the RPMs, they look good, they're steady, they're not bouncing around like before. And that is how you replace your crankshaft positioning sensor.